Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight and noise into what it all means. Leading on the show today is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy, live from our hockey rink / meat locker here in Southern California. Very exciting show we have for you today. The news stories include Billy Baston gets cast and Disney does some window shopping. Who's joining me today, Ash?
Also, here's John Schnepp.
Luckily, I'm always sweating, so I got a t-shirt on. It's breezy in here.
Also here, Clarke Wolfe.
I don't know. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm extra chilly. Just saying.
I just enjoy sweats. Like, I really like wearing sweats. I mean, I know you guys see me and how dolled up I get from my Morona company Target stuff, but this just feels comfortable to me.
You look great both ways, Mark.
Oh, thank you very much. I think one day a week I'm allowed to dress down a little bit, but I don't think anybody on this desk looks as nice as John Schnepp and his Nicolas Cage as Superman shirt. Look at that go. Well, we're not going to be talking about that version of Superman. We do have some cool Justice League news to get to, but we kick off today's show with some there's some acquiring that might or may not happen. Tell us about it.
Coming from a report at CNBC, it looks as though Disney is looking to expand its already impressive slate of film and television IPs by holding preliminary talks with 20th Century Fox to buy their film and TV properties, meaning X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four could conceivably fall under the Marvel umbrella of films should the deal make it. The report notes that this is very, very early on in the process, with CNBC noting that the two studios are not talking at the moment. Mark, thoughts on Disney possibly buying 20th Century Fox's library of film and television properties?
Woo, boy, that mouse. They just love buying stuff, don't they? You know, for a company that loves buying all these companies, they still can't get Donald Duck pants. However, if you're looking at them purchasing a property, and again, just to let everybody know, they're not buying 20 or their 21st Century Fox. They're not buying that corporation because that would get into discussions of monopoly. So they're not buying another broadcast network. They're just buying properties that are owned by another broadcast network. So they could be buying the X-Men rights. They could be buying Alien rights, Planet of the Apes. There's all these things they could be bringing in to the Disney fold. And so naturally fans like me are going to think, oh, well, does that mean that X-Men could all of a sudden team up with the Avengers? Sure, maybe down the road. Maybe Deadpool and Captain America have a conversation about language that I would pay money to see. But in the grand scheme of things, we know that Disney is launching a streaming service in a couple of years. So if they're looking at movies to cherry pick from different studios, it could be because they want to make their streaming service the most attractive platform for us to be paying a monthly fee to watch. So it wouldn't just be Disney animated movies. It could be Star Wars flicks, or it could be an X-Men movie, or it could be any of these other properties that we're talking about that are owned by 21st Century Fox or any other studio that they may have their eye on. Fun fact for Star Wars fans is that Fox still owns the rights to A New Hope, so if they did acquire A New Hope, then maybe down the road you could see them re-release A New Hope and Empire and Return of the Jedi in their original form back in theaters again. That'd be pretty exciting to hear Yub Nub again after all these years. John Schnepp, you hear Disney going crazy with the money. They haven't spent anything yet. The talks are not on the table as of today, but they could be re-energized at any point. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can hold off on hearing Yub Nub because I've got the DVD version of that original Return of the Jedi.
Coming over to your place right after this.
Come on over, baby. I don't have your special deluxe setup that you're, with the popcorn ready, but, be happy. I've talked about, that Marvel trying to get back Fantastic Four for years now. It feels like, especially after the Spider-Man, like, what? Everyone was like, look, they're going to get Spider-Man back, and they did. And they're gunning for the Fantastic Four, not just for the Fantastic Four, but because of the treasure trove of amazing villains that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created in that, 5-6 year span of, from 63 on up. It's like, not just the Inhumans, but obviously Doctor Doom, all these different characters, Galactus, Silver Surfer, you name some of the greatest villains from the Marvel world, and they all are kind of got their start in Fantastic Four. So if Marvel's going to move forward with this Phase 4, they need a good villain because now they've used Thanos, and that's Phase 3. So I could see that happening, but the bigger move is it's really literally going to become Disney versus Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers is the company that literally owns, I think it was the last time I checked, I haven't checked recently, but maybe a few years ago, they owned about 80% of all media. That's a lot. So, I mean, Disney has been kind of like, hey, we're catching up and we're going to start acquiring a treasure trove of films and television shows like what 20th Century Fox has produced. All those movies can then be on their new streaming platform. Now, that's what they need to lock down, and that's what I think they're really going for. I think getting X-Men and Deadpool and Fantastic Four, yeah, that's a couple $1 billion, but we're talking about a much larger proposal where they're not going to be doing, i.e. the monopoly. They can keep Fox News. Obviously, nobody wants that, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, like, hey, keep that weird stuff going. Nobody cares about that. But what we really are interested in is the creative IP. So I think that's where it's really headed, and hopefully they resolve it.
Yeah, Clarke, do you find this news as far as them acquiring creative IPs or just wanting to get some properties that they can put their movies on the new Disney streaming service? Does any of this excite you, or does it give you apprehension that Disney might be getting a little too greedy?
It's a little of both. I mean, because one of the things that was noted in the show notes was that, Fox is sort of feeling like they can't keep up. And I think that's kind of a drag because, as far as like the Planet of the Apes trilogy, no other studio is making blockbuster movies like that. Like, that's a very special new trilogy that Fox went all in on, and I hope they feel rewarded for it. Not to say that Disney couldn't ultimately, carry on that mindset of that trilogy, but it just seems like a unique thing to Fox. Same with Deadpool. I mean, it was Fox that said, okay, yeah, let's make this Deadpool movie that was a huge success. So, I would be nervous to see if all these different tonal movies that we're talking about had to somehow fit within the bigger Disney Marvel cinematic universe. But on the other hand, I think it does make sense from a streaming perspective that they would want to have access to some of the most iconic franchises in movie history. But I don't know, it's a little big for its non-existent Donald Duck britches. Donald Duck britches. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, and I just worry about too much control. But who knows? Yeah,
the thing that I'm thinking about right now, Ashley, is that Disney seems to have a very family-friendly vibe, even with the new properties that they have, like Star Wars. It's still, and we see the Last Jedi trailer, and we're like, oh, it's going to be so dark and mysterious. Yeah, there's going to be elements to that, but it's also going to be family friendly to go take your kids to see Star Wars. Deadpool is not the case with that. Alien is not the case with that. As Clarke said, Planet of the Apes has a lot of adult themes in there too. Yeah. So do you get nervous that this could water down some of the content that we currently like if Disney does this with 20th Century Fox or any other studio?
Yeah, as you guys know, I love my Deadpool. And a while ago, during a shareholders meeting, I was actually reading that Bob Iger said that they don't plan on ever making any R-rated Marvel movies, and that it was a while ago, but I would hate them to change around the Deadpool that we saw and that we love to fit their, Disney branding. But maybe with the streaming service, they'll kind of, broaden the scope a little bit, but it just worries me that they would change that.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see how they market that Disney streaming service if you do have a wide variety of movies available. Do you sell it as being Disney and kid-friendly with the cute way that Walt Disney signed his name, or do you have multiple factions? Is there a version you can purchase that is just for adult eyes only? Is there a Disney After Hours version of the app? There's so many questions right now. And again, the talks are not currently going on. They were happening. They might revisit the table at some point. But the bottom line is, if this happens, then we have a much better chance of the Fox NFL Sunday robot to get his own 3-picture deal and star as the new villain in an Avengers movie. We'll have to wait to see how all that plays out. So Disney, Fox, we'll keep you guys posted. Our next story involves a movie that is a little more immediate in our future.
In a new report from the Wall Street Journal, the 1 hour and 59-minute runtime of Justice League was no accident and actually a mandate set forth by WB CEO Kevin Tsujihara after Batman vs. Superman's critical reaction and runtime at 151 minutes. The report notes that a lot of the post-production work was spent melding the tones of Whedon and Snyder's work into one seamless movie, and while early cuts failed to achieve the right combination, audience scores for the later cuts reportedly mirror how Wonder Woman scored. The report finishes with saying WB is pretty happy with the finished product and that Ezra Miller's Flash is said to be who Warner Brothers views as the breakout of the film, and a solo Flash movie is a priority. Schnepp, what do you think about the alleged mandate that Justice League fall under 2 hours in length?
Well, I mean, I understand from a stockholder's kind of money counting perspective as to like they want to be able to have it under 2 hours. They could fit as many screenings as possible over the first weekend and the second weekend because that's where most of the money comes from film releases. From a creative aspect, I don't really like it. I don't like hearing that there's some kind of time mandate, especially with a film so troubled as Justice League. I mean, literally, you have two different directors, i.e., we don't know if it's going to feel like we're seeing two different movies. My concern goes back to the theatrical cut of BVS, where it was a very long film, but the editing, I could tell there was something wrong. I mean, I didn't know how much they had cut out until I saw the ultimate cut, which is actually they kind of ruined the movie. The theatrical version is the edits are just jiggity jaggedy, and it feels like you're missing stuff. And I don't want to feel like when I hear this, I feel like I'm already hearing like when I go see this movie, I'm going to be watching something that's truncated. I'm already watching something that's been shaved down. Well, we don't know if we need to have that extra back shot. Just cut that out. Like that's the worst thing when creatives and non-creatives are in the same room together with editorial, and you have that pressure of like we need to lose 30 minutes. 30 minutes is an incredibly long amount of time when you're talking about a feature film. That's like almost 1/5 of the film. So you're like, well, what seconds do you want to cut out? It starts to become kind of, like Amadeus. Which notes, MFer? You know what I mean? Like, it gets very tense in these, and believe me, I've been in edit rooms where things get incredibly tense over a stupid kids show. So you can see what the levels of, screaming and people locked out of editorial can easily get there when we're talking about feature films like this. So I don't want to hear those stories. That's what I kind of start to think that when I hear this. Well, the runtime and some of even the clips that have been released online feel truncated to me. And then I'm like, well, is that the full scene that they've released, or is it just like a edited down version to be a clip? So those are my concerns.
If the movie's great, nobody's going to care. If it's 2 hours and we love watching the movie, not only are we going to be happy with the movie, but we also are going to want to rush out and buy whatever inevitable Blu-ray comes out with all of the extra footage, a la Batman v Superman, which was not critically loved. There was a lukewarm reception to that, according to Rotten Tomatoes and critics. But then the DVD or the Blu-ray comes out and everybody's like, oh, you got to see the final cut. You got to see the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman. It's so much better. How many more copies of the Blu-ray are they going to sell if Justice League scores like Wonder Woman did at the box office and critically? So now you have all this extra stuff to just throw on there. So if you can save footage and put it on a Blu-ray and then still have a 2-hour movie come out in theaters that everybody loves, that's a win-win from a studio money-making perspective. Now, as a fan, do I want to go see a 3-hour Justice League movie? Yeah, because it's the Justice League. This isn't just one superhero story. There's a whole bunch of superheroes, Clarke, and they're all getting together, and we have to meet some of them. Then we have to find how they're all going to work together as a team. Then we have to have some sort of conflict that is like world-ending that we have to solve. So the comedian in me does not like the fact that there's a studio head mandating how long a runtime is, because I want all the creative freedom to do my art. But then on the other side of the spectrum, when I'm on stage and they turn the light on, I know I got 3 minutes to get the hell out of there, and I always respect it. So there's a runtime that was mandated. Do you think that's fair or foul?
Well, I wonder actually when the mandate came down.
Totally.
So, like, if Joss Whedon, when he came on to do some additional work and post-production, was told, look, here's our goal, 2 hours, keep it at 2 hours. If you're working in that way, then you're shooting for that. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a matter of, like you were alluding to, Schnepp, where you get into the editing room, you have a 2-hour and 25-minute movie that is your perfect version, and they say, nah, you got to lose 30 minutes, that's a different story. So I don't know which one it is, but I will say that, I think that I agree with you, Mark. I would like to see probably like to see a longer Justice League movie, right? Because this is the first time that the whole team is coming together to actually fight, a villain. And that, I think, deserves as much time as it needs. The problem is, thus far in the DCEU, like, the movies are too long, and so it's like it's almost like they've used up all that goodwill. The ultimate Batman versus Superman in its definitive best version shouldn't be 3 hours long. Like that's not how theatrical feature film summer blockbusters work.
That's not how the Force works.
That's not how it goes. But so I'm just saying that I wish that they had like really, they had saved up that cred and they had saved up the goodwill from the fans and said, no, this is when we're actually going to use it.
Yeah, Schnepp, do you think it's the Boy That Cried Wolf situation at this point where they've given us so many long movies that we're like, well, we're not really sure if we need it anymore? And do you think that they could tell a Justice League story that would not only satisfy the casual movie-going fans, but also a hardcore, sweaty comic book nerd because there's so much lore to cram into 2 hours? Can they pull it off?
They could have made it 2.5 hours. They could have made it 3 hours. I mean, to me, it's not about like making a 90-minute blockbuster popcorn movie. I could give, you know what I'm saying? It's like, look at Thor Ragnarok. How long was that?
About 2 hours.
No, it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was about 2. Well, it goes by quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Is like when you make a film, a really good film that's paced really well, that has all the right parts to it, 2.5 hours goes by like nothing. And
Braveheart 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, some of the greatest films, I mean, I mentioned Amadeus. That's a long film. There's so many of these amazing films. I'm not talking about like, Lawrence of Arabia. You have a lot of films. Apocalypse Now. Look at the greatest films ever made. Most of them aren't 90 minutes. So you don't need somebody in the back of the edit room like, we need to lose another 5 minutes. They're like, we need to lose you out of this room is what has to happen. So you have to respect filmmakers. You have to respect auteurs. And there's a certain point, like, I get it. This is a product. Zack Snyder was given total creative freedom and made this very long film, Batman v Superman. Some could say the ultimate cut is much more epic, and I would say a much better film than the theatrical released film. The theatrically released film is like night and day to me. So I mean, look, could they have messed up and made that happen again? Hopefully, with bringing in someone like Joss Whedon, who's cut his teeth on television and making like a concise 45-minute nugget of storytelling every week. I think it's like Clarke mentioned. It's like, look, they hired him with this thing in mind. Like, we got to take this 2 hour and 45-minute movie, bust it down, make it work, rewrite certain things that aren't working, cut things out. Look, the damage is done. We don't know what that original Justice League movie is or was. Now we just have this. And whatever this is, I want it to be as good as it can be. So, I mean, I'm hoping like the combination of these two different directors and their visions works. I know it was more of like, it's more of Zach's vision, and Joss is just trying to smooth things out and make things work. Who knows? We're all going to see it in like a week and a half or whatever. But hopefully the runtime isn't an issue.
Yeah, the Thor Ragnarok is 2 hours, 10 minutes, just for everybody keeping score at home. How do we, I'm a very simple man, okay? I don't want to direct movies. It looks like a giant headache to me with a lot of people that you have to control and are responsible for. But don't you storyboard all this stuff out? As a direct, don't you have some sort of semblance of an idea whether your movie is going to be closer to 2 hours or closer to 3 hours? Is it just a matter of, we're shooting all this great stuff and now we want to get it all in the movie? Shouldn't you have an idea of what the running time is before you go into production?
Yes and no. I mean, it's every movie is made differently. I mean, you could look at certain films like Iron Man 2 was shot without a script. They just kept shooting and like making pages as they went along. They had a rough story idea and they just rushed into production. That's where a lot of people have issues with Iron Man 2. It's like maybe that's where kind of some of that stemmed from. Other films are like completely plotted out and storyboarded from the beginning all the way to the end. And some films even go to the point of like doing scratch tracks and making a complete, almost like you would say, call it an animatic from the animation world, where you have everything timed out. Now, giant films like, I bet you my bottom dollar that Tim Miller has timed out every single sequence from his new Terminator film, and that it's not only storyboarded, that there's like 3D animatics for all the action scenes, so that when they actually get to shooting that film, that it'll be, now we're filling in the blocks, and then if we came up with something creative that beats that, now you're beating the storyboard. So that's the way you do things. That's the way smart films are made. And so sometimes people are rushed in, they're like, we need to make a release date or whatever, for whatever reasons, or some people could just say, I want to be creative, and I show up on the set and that's not the shot, I don't want to be locked down. You can't really do that when you're dealing with a $150 million budget. You need to be smarter about it. So hopefully they were smart. I know Zach storyboards a ton of stuff. I mean, he's a great storyboard artist. He's an incredible visual artist. So, I mean, I'm confident that most of everything they shot, there was a plan for it. So it's always it's a unique experience once you get into the edit room. So it's hard to tell.
Yeah, Clarke and Ashley, I want to ask your opinions on this because if your brain works like mine, I have all the sympathy in the world for you. If you go into a movie, do you look at the running time and say, "Oh God, really?" Or is it contingent upon the genre? Because if I go to a comedy and I hear it's longer than 90 minutes, I'm like, okay, how many? What exactly are we doing here? If it's a horror movie, if it's about 110 minutes, I'm like, okay, we're pushing it. I go into a comic book movie, especially something like this, I'm good with 2 hours, even 2.5 hours if you have all these characters in here. Do you break it down via genre, or are you just thinking, I don't want to see a movie that long?
Just me personally, I enjoy a shorter runtime because I get really eager beaver. This, though, is a different case because there are so many characters and so many story points that you have to hit. But I do like getting to the juice, getting to the meat of the story and cutting out all the fluff. So it's kind of hard to say, but I do enjoy a shorter runtime.
Clarke, are you like Ashley, where you are a woodland creature that just wants to get and build your dam and then go home?
I feel like, yeah, I'm daunted. I find long runtimes daunting. Like when I sat down for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and saw the runtime, I was like, oh my God. What? Why? But then I watched the movie and I loved it and it flew by. I go into Marvel and DCU movies expecting them to be over 2 hours. I don't necessarily like that. You know what I'm saying? But for other movies, when I see a ridiculously long runtime, sometimes I'm like, God, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Why? Why do we need this? Why? But then, if it's good, you don't notice. If it's not good, then you're like, we definitely didn't need this. So it's case by case.
I was gonna say I am a camel, so that is another like some people might be like, look at a runtime, and be like, I gotta take at least 3 pee breaks. I'm like, I'm not even worried about that. Complete and total control of my own urine.
If you ever have the pleasure of meeting John Schnepp in person, look on his back. He does have 2 humps on his back.
I do.
So,
the rides cost $20.
I get them for free. It's okay. Let's move on to our next story. What is it?
It's opening this week.
Oh, right. Opening this week is a movie that is 1 hour and 54 minutes. Is it worth it?
It's Murder on the Orient Express.
Murder?
A lavish trip through Europe quickly unfolds into a race against time to solve a murder aboard a train. Everyone's a suspect when Detective Hercule Poirot arrives to interrogate all passengers and search for clues before the killer can strike again.
Based on the classic Agatha Christie story, and I got a chance to see this movie last night, and our reviews are going to be up later on, either today or tomorrow on Schmoes and right here on Collider. And the movie, I want to see a good murder mystery, and I want to have whoever I'm following along in the action be a great lead, and I want a lot of interesting, mysterious side characters. And you get all that with Murder on the Orient Express. I didn't think it was a great movie, but I loved watching Kenneth Branagh play Hercule Poirot.
You know better than I do. You saw it.
I took 3 years of French for all the wrong reasons. I didn't retain any of it, but I think he's Belgian actually in the movie. And this on the train, like the movie starts off, we get to know who this guy is, and we get to know what he's all about. And Clarke, I think that a good murder mystery is something that we could go for at least once a year at the movies. Something like Gone Girl was really interesting to watch, and then something like Girl on a Train, which we thought we were going to get, not so much. I think Murder on the Orient Express gets us back on the right track. Didn't even mean to do it. Didn't even mean to do it. Somewhere, Copster is happy about that. Are you excited to see Murder on the Orient Express?
So I am, actually. I really like the idea that this is a period drama. This cast is fantastic. They're some of the best actors working today. I really enjoyed Kenneth Branagh as a director. I loved his Cinderella movie. I thought it was excellent. And it's a classy, I like the idea of a possibly classy story and classy old-fashioned murder mystery. Like, I'm kind of on board with that. On board.
I
did it!
A lot of pressure on Schnepp right now.
But yeah, so I think I will actually make it a point to go see this movie this weekend.
John Schnepp, are you going to buy a ticket to this? Are you going to grow your mustache out to match Poirot?
Mustache rides are free on this trip. You know what? Hey, guys, gals, what's up? This one for me is just, if I want to see something like this, I'm going to watch Clue. That's kind of this feels.
Oh,
like,
come on!
It feels like it's missing the boat for me. I'm just not getting to do any train metaphors.
Oh yeah, I know. I was so close.
Yeah, I'm not getting on that ride.
You're gonna pick any other mode of transportation.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you don't want to
I'm taking a jet plane. I'm leaving on a Saturday. I don't even know. I saw the trailer. I love all these actors and actresses. It's an incredible cast. It does feel like a bit of a throwback to me, like where it's like, look, they're doing like a fun kind of 70s murder mystery on a train. And it feels like it doesn't get past that for me. So I'm wondering if it does cinematically. I think Kenneth Branagh is a great director. He's a great actor. All the actors there. So that's the only reason I'm holding out hope to actually see it. I will probably eventually see it. I don't know if I'm going to go rush out to see it in the movie theaters. It depends on I'm going to actually wait for other critics to weigh in on it. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want to be the guy who's like taking one for the team. I'm not going to go see the movie. I'm going to wait until I hear enough people who I respect. I'm like, look, I'll mush all of those people together and be like, that'll help me decide.
Well, to Clark's point, one of the things that Kenneth Branagh does well as a director is that he immerses you in whatever world where the story takes place. And so showing us all of these incredible images of the train going through, like, actually watching the tracks in the Orient Express, the way that it's going and getting to see all this massive like mountains and backdrops and snow. It's a beautiful looking movie. And I think there's enough meat on that story. In Eager Beaver, like Ashley Mova, it's a 2-hour movie, but it is a murder mystery, so we have to see a lot of plot developments unfold.
Yeah.
Is this on your radar?
I hate period pieces, so for this to grab my attention, I'm so excited for this. I love murder mysteries. I think that's what it is. I was at the Grove and I saw an ad for it across the street that says the perfect twist, and I love a good twist. I don't know what it could be. Don't spoil anything, Mark, but I'm so excited to see this.
I used to not be that into period pieces, and then the advent of cell phones came out, and now I just love seeing a movie where we don't have to worry about like texting or anything.
Yeah.
I see
Amen.
people who don't have their communication devices on them, and I'm just like, oh God. It used to be me.
A simpler time.
Yeah. Used to be me. Well, now we live in a fast-paced world where everybody's buying or selling something, so let's do a segment about it.
All right. In a new interview with Jessica Chastain about her role in the upcoming Molly's Game, Screen Rant asked the actress if she would be interested in playing the adult version of the fan-favorite character of Beverly Marsh in 2019's follow-up to the highest-grossing horror movie of all time, It. Chastain then confirmed she's hoping to take on the role, saying, "Well, I love Andy and Barbara. I work with them on Andy's directorial debut, his film Mama, his first film. And Barbara is one of my best friends, so we'll see. Listen, of course, I want to work. They're my friends. They're like my family. Anything that they're doing, I want to be a part of, so I hope we can make it happen." Clarke, would you buy or sell Jessica Chastain as Bev in It Chapter 2?
I buy this so hard. So basically, here's the thing, and I don't just buy it because Jessica Chastain is a redhead and kind of looks like Little Bev. I buy it because, so here's the trick with It Chapter 2, because when you're watching the first part, you are identifying with the kids. You're almost going on a roller coaster ride, right? Those scares are childish, they're childlike, and that's fun for adult audiences. It Chapter 2 is diving into, just if they go off the book, which I'm assuming they will, diving into the things that scare us as adults. So it can be infertility, it can be an abusive relationship, it can be money problems, it can be racial discrimination, it can be drug addiction, it can be, like, we're dealing with the stuff that is not so fun, right? And so bringing on a heavy hitter like Jessica Chastain is a great idea. And I want to commend her because I think she is similar to Nicole Kidman, one of the most interesting actresses working today. She takes weird parts that you wouldn't necessarily expect her to take. She's a cool lady. I love her in Mama. I love her in Crimson Peak. I know Andy loves her. And the fact that she, like this A-list, regal Hollywood actress, would be interested in taking on a true blue horror movie is like that. It's just, I love all of this.
Yeah, I like Jessica Chastain in Mama, and the fact that she does have this prior working relationship with Muschietti, I think certainly speaks to how well they would perform together in a tandem with It too. Schnepp, there's a lot of redheaded actresses out there, and I don't think we necessarily need to say, oh, this has to be a natural redhead that we cast here, but there are a a lot of options to choose from, whether it is Jessica Chastain or it's Christina Hendricks or it's Lauren Ambrose. Somebody, I was thinking Shannon Purser, I think is her name, from Stranger Things, but she might be a little too young.
Right.
So you want somebody that is the proper age range, and Jessica Chastain might be the best name brand value you can get, as well as a powerhouse of an actress. So I would sign up for this. You?
Yeah, I heard our own Grace Hancock is in, she might be in for the role, but like if she doesn't get it, I think Jessica Chastain is a perfect choice. Why? I mean, obviously because she's already worked with both the producer and the director. She has a close relationship with them. I think it's in the bag. It's sort of like when you have an actress of her caliber already saying she wants to play the role, which kind of naturally fits, feels like the age range of all the other actors that they'll be getting is going to be in that same age group. I think it's perfect. So I would love for them to just get over any of these games. And just, she's going to play the role. I think it's perfect casting.
Jessica Chastain can be bold and can be an ass kicker. Ashley, do you think she's the one that takes down this clown once and for all?
I'm interested to see. I mean, first of all, I would love it. Obviously, they look similar, but I'm interested to see how this affects the budget of It Chapter 2, with the budget of the first one being relatively low. Bringing on these more well-known actors, I feel like it's going to make the budget skyrocket. So I'm excited to see, I guess, what the budget is like.
Well, at least it's not going to be a period piece. Don't worry. I think they're going to have cell phones in this one. So, see, I don't want to see that either. I don't want to see adults like Googling the history of dairy. I want it to be more
Instagramming pictures.
Yeah, back in my day, you had to go to a library and look at microfiche to get your clown headlines from the early 1900s.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great if you saw Pennywise on your phone? It makes people not want to use their phone anymore. That could be kind of cool.
Gotta be great. I don't know why I'm upset at phones there. I dropped mine right before we went to air.
You did.
But,
I think that's why you're sad.
I didn't get any new cracks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark. What were you saying? I was busy checking my... I'm sorry. What happened?
Just trying to have a nice family dinner. All right, let's move on to the next story.
THR reports that Disney star Asher Angel has signed on to play Billy Batson in Shazam. The DC superhero story centers on a boy named Billy Batson who can transform into an adult superhero by uttering the magic word Shazam. Angel plays Jonah Beck, the love interest for Mac on Disney's Andy Mac, and will be joining already cast Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, and Grace Fulton in the David F. Sandberg directed film. The production is moving fast with casting and looks to begin principal photography early next year, with a likely 2019 release. Mark, buy or sell Asher Angel as young Billy Batson?
I love that name and I hate that name so much. Asher Angel. I mean, really? That's your name? That's what you get to introduce yourself as? If you're old enough to be at a bar, you get to say, oh, hi, my name's Asher Angel. That's like the greatest Tiger Beat pinup name of all time. Asher Angel. How does a name like Mark Ellis follow Asher Angel? Then you get to play somebody named Billy Baston. Schnepp, this is like too much for any one kid to have, but he seems like a good egg.
I think it's perfect casting. Asher, Angel, Billy, what is it? No, I can't
Baston.
remember. Baston, thank you. You said it weird and not change mine.
I didn't say it weird.
You said Bastion.
I didn't do nothing.
I think Mark Ellis threw me under the bus. Yeah, you know what? I think it's perfect casting.
Under the train,
perhaps? The callback! Good job. That was pretty good.
At least we know who did it.
Yeah.
Jokes.
Murder on the Orient Express. Back to you, John.
I'm feeling slightly clueless. Yeah, I think it's perfect casting. I know a lot of people are like, well, when are they going to announce the kid? They got the kid. I think back of like the, Dynamite or Pizzazz or these, he should be on the cover of some 70s. He looks like right out of that kind of era. It makes me hopeful to see what kind of film Sandberg is going to make. I think it's going to be a lighthearted family comedy. Is kind of a little bit more on the edge of Spider-Man is my guess. Is they're going to go like maybe the kid is in, he looks like he might be in high school by the time they actually start shooting it. So that would be kind of an exciting way to take the DC universe. It's something like not grim, gritty, dark, it's raining all the time. It's actually sunny. They're in high school. The kid's got, high school issues. And then he turns into a giant dude, some kind of weird god. I don't know how they're going to play Shazam. That's the most interesting thing to me. Like, what is Shazam doing when he isn't, transformed? Is he just floating in some weird, like, Miracle Man, macabre, like, strange? Is he just having breakfast with other gods? What is he doing? So,
yeah, Clarke, we don't know a lot about Asher Angel. We haven't seen a whole lot of his material, but kid's got a good look. So, do you think he's right for Shazam?
Sure, I buy it. I mean, I honestly don't know very much about this comic book series, and I don't have the Disney Channel, so I don't know what about him. But he looks cute, and he kind of looks like Zachary Levi, right? So, is that what he's going to turn into, Zachary Levi? So, yeah, why not?
I see it. I mean, I don't know a lot about Asher Angel. I don't know what you guys want me to buy or sell. It's a human being that you cast that looks. He's got a great look. So yeah, I'm gonna buy. I haven't seen the kid act. Ashley, have you?
No, I haven't. I mean, his IMDb page is pretty short. It has a Disney. I mean, like, he's -2. What do you expect him to have?
He's
on
a
his IMDb
zygote.
page?
I don't know if he's
a
good
zygote,
or not.
basically. But yeah, he looks like Zachary Levi. So yeah, I buy it.
I'm the same guy that'll like read trades of like 8th grade prospects in basketball. So I should be good at prognosticating. I knew who LeBron James was when he was in 3rd grade. So I should know more about this.
How tall was he?
Yeah, I think he could dunk.
Wow.
He might have needed a trampoline and a tennis ball, but he could dunk when he was in 3rd grade. That is it for Buy or Sell. We are going to move on to Mailbag, and at the end of the show, we're going to take some of your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Make them good, make them original, make them something that we'll want to talk about out loud. And we also want to remind you guys that our top 50 superheroes of all time is up and running. We have a new episode that is dropping every day early in the morning. Today we have The Amazing Spider-Man Power Rangers Through the Dark World is now up. Then we have a new one dropping, and so I guess you got to wait to see that. They didn't tell me what it was, so. Oh, no, I know what it is. Can I say it?
Yeah, say it, Mark. I don't know if you can say it, but do it.
Dun dun. Number 47 is Dread. Whoo! It's Dread, right? That's right.
Well,
You got the okay from
technically, it's a bunch of people's number 47. It's much lower, in the teens for me. But whatever. You watch
Oh,
it.
what a nice company man John Schnepp
Yeah, I'm
is.
not
Just-
a company man. You'll never see that.
That way, everybody's got their opinion. There are a lot of people here in and around the Collider offices voted on this list. A number of pundits on screen talking about it. It's a lot of fun. I got a chance to check out some of them this weekend, the final version of them, and I think the team did a really good job. So check out and enjoy the debate. Keep it classy, and they're keeping it as classy as this one right here. That's Clarke Wolfe. Speaking of Clarke Wolfe and the Schmodown, there's an all-new Schmodown that is dropping later on today. That is between Rachel Cushing and Sam Levine. We have the Thor Ragnarok spoiler review is now up, so if you want to, all your spoilers, if you have had a chance to check out the 2-hour and 10-minute Thor Ragnarok, then go check out that vid right now, and a new awesome tacker will be dropping this Friday on the Go 90 network. All right, all that business is out of the way, so now we get to move on to Mailbag. You can email us anytime, collidervideo@gmail.com, and occasionally one of them is going to find its way to be a champion and read on this here show. What do we got, Ashley?
It's from Patrick, and he writes, "Hello, Movie Talk crew. Despite having made $1.4 billion, Disney considered Age of Ultron a failure because it didn't match the success of the original. I think we can all agree that Avatar 2 will not come anywhere close to the box office numbers of the original Avatar. My question is, how much do you think it needs to make in order to avoid being labeled as a failure or a misstep by the studio?" Thanks for taking my question.
Thank you for writing it, Patrick. There's kind of two parts to this. Is that I don't know that Disney considered Age of Ultron a absolute, total, abject failure. It didn't make as much as the first Avengers, and critically it didn't do nearly as well as the first Avengers, where we laud the first Avengers as one of the great superhero movies of all time. And Age of Ultron, in some people's eyes, was a misfire, although I enjoyed watching the movie. $1.5 billion is nothing to sneeze at, even if you are the mouse. They put a lot of money into these things to market them, to make them, so they want as much return on their investment as they can possibly get. So, Clark, when you look at something like Avatar, we know what the first movie did. We know that the second one is probably not going to be the same cultural, shift change movie that you just can't replicate that kind of success. So is there a number in your head that this new Avatar movie needs to meet in order for it to not be a failure?
Well, here's my question. So I don't. There's a lot of secrecies surrounding the production of these new Avatar movies. So I would assume that if they are developing the technology and they have X amount of dollars to shoot, 2 and 3 back to back, let's say, I think if Avatar 2 can make back what they've put into the technology and into 2 and 3, then 3 is all profit, right? And so I think that would be my assumption for the numbers game. Again, I don't know how they went about shooting this, and I don't know what the budgets actually are, and if they're going into production on all of the sequels at once, or if they're going to wait and see how it plays out, but I don't think that's the case. So I think if they can break even on Avatar 2, then Avatar 3 is gravy.
This is, I'm looking at the numbers for the first Avatar, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. It's impossible to replicate the confluence of events of having this new technology arrive in theaters with a name brand like James Cameron, an interesting story that is a sci-fi picture, and then we have nothing else that can really come out and be a blockbuster competitor against it. So it came out December 18th. And it made opening weekend with $77 million. That's a hell of an opening weekend you just had there. The next weekend was Christmas, and it made $75 million. And then the next weekend grosses 68, 50, 42, then back up to 54, 34, 31, $22 million. Schnepp, it was just a train that kept on chugling, and we live in a climate today, almost 10 years later, where there's another blockbuster around the corner, regardless of what month you open your movie in. So what does Avatar 2 need to do? How much money does it need to make opening weekend to get us to be like, oh, okay, you did it?
Well, from my helicopter that I'm on right now, Mark, I'm overseeing James Cameron shooting Avatar 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5 maybe a year later. I always bet on Cameron when he comes out with his films. Maybe not his statements, but when his films are amazing. And every single one of his films that he's put out, a lot of people are like, well, this is where he's going to fail, and they've had to eat their foot. Not just the shoe, the entire foot. So
it's not a fun experience. I've done it. It's not a fun experience.
It's not fun. So I think that Avatar coming out, now it's going to be 10 years later. A lot of people are, being, oh, that's so stupid and this and that. Don't forget about The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens kind of came back and made Star Wars cool again. I mean, after the prequels, and I'm sure a lot of people out there love the prequels. I'm not one of them. But for me, The Force Awakens was my Star Wars that finally came back. And that's what I feel like a lot of people wanted to see. Something like Avatar 2, all those people who loved the first Avatar didn't go away. They didn't die. They didn't forget about the feelings that they had when they saw the first Avatar. And I think that's what Avatar 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are going to be. And I think my guess is that they're going to re-release Avatar in this newer, kind of like when you get a video game and you reskin it and you re-upres it. Now it's in 4K, or we've, up-res it, so to speak. I think we're going to see a newer version of the original Avatar with this newer technology applied to it, so that I trust in what James Cameron is doing with all of his properties, and I think he's a really smart person as far as when it comes to using technology and 3D and making something a story as well as an event. So to me, I don't think it's too late. I mean, it is a multiple question type thing. Avengers Age of Ultron was in no way a failure. $1.4 billion is not a failure. Did they want $2 billion? Of course. Every company wants more money from their sequels than they possibly could get. I think Avatar is going to blow it off the chain.
The one question I have about James Cameron, though, I have no doubt that the Avatar movie is going to be entertaining and that it's going to technologically push the envelope or give us a new frontier. But I think that some people might be overestimating just how much we love Avatar, because it's a good movie, but I don't find the mythology or the lore to be anywhere comparable to what Star Wars does, to what a lot of the MCU or DCU movies do that we grew up with. I don't know that there's kids out there that saw Avatar and that's the movie for them.
Yeah, but there's only one Avatar, and there's like 300 Star Wars like books and video games and comics, and all these movies have been around for 40 years. So technically, you're right.
It hasn't had time to grow and nurture, but by the same token, it's 10 years and we haven't had a movie. So now this one comes out, and I feel like here's the bar that they need to hit. Here's the first hurdle, because there's a lot you need to do with Avatar 2 in order for it to not be a financial failure. The first thing you have to do, I think you need to make more than the first Avatar did opening weekend. Because $78 million, if you don't even hit that mark when you open your movie with ticket prices inflated, with the ability to show it in more theaters, never mind the fact that the first Avatar made a decent amount opening weekend, then just snowballed into this incredible juggernaut. If you can't even match the opening weekend, then you're really starting to be in trouble.
I'll say right here, 150 million opening weekend. Woo! Avatar 2 will break 150. It'll make more than 150.
Okay, Clarke, you want to levy a bet?
No, but what I want
2 years away.
No, but what I do want to say is James Cameron is probably thinking back to Terminator and Terminator 2. Terminator 2, there was 9 years, I think, in between that one and the first one, and the Terminator obviously had Arnold, and it had this world building, and it was a hit. but I think that he elevated the material and took us on this, same with Alien and Aliens, So I'm just saying, like, I think he is thinking back to those franchises and is probably confident that he's going to be able to raise the bar and get more people excited.
Well, it's going to cost a lot of money, and I hope the movie's good because if I'm going to put on those heavy glasses, it better be worth my while. And it's going to be like a 2.5-hour movie, I bet. Okay, let's do some live Twitter questions, and we will call it a day here at Collider Movie Talk. What do we got?
First one comes from Janine Bean Casserole, and she writes, who would you guys cast as the rest of It's Loser Club in the sequel?
Oh, dear God, Janine.
Yeah.
Oh, Janine. God.
So hard.
Oh, jeez, this is too tough. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that I need to be cast in the new It movie, but I also, just like the kids, I don't need it to be a who's who of famous people. If we have somebody like Jessica Chastain, that's enough celebrity clout for me in the new It movie, as long as we get Skarsgård back as the creepy Ronald McDonald.
Well, you have to keep it now within 30 and 40 age range. So you have to eliminate a lot of people where you'd be like, what about John Boyega? What about or Don Cheadle? They're too young or too old. So it really comes down to it, and I'd have to actually put my thinking cap on, which I don't want to.
Well, one name that I thought of, I would have loved to have seen Andre Holland as Mike Hanlon. However, Andre Holland is now on Castle Rock, which is another Stephen King, mashup universe. And so even though Bill Skarsgård's over there too, doing something a little different, I can't really imagine that because he's. Andre Holland is the lead on Castle Rock, and so I can't imagine that he'll hop over to another Stephen King franchise. And so I want to put out there Sterling K. Brown for Mike Hanlon because I am such a fan of Sterling K. Brown. I think he is insanely talented, and he has the ability to really bring the weight of the emotion. He's just such a complex and wonderful actor, and I would love to see him as Mike.
I got one. Jon Snow as a little kid with the asthma.
Oh, that's a great one.
Horrible with
Harrington?
Yeah, Keith. I'm horrible with these names.
Yeah.
It's the guy who played Dracula and also Jon Snow. Him as that
Luke
little
Evans?
kid. Yeah, he's all like totally beefcaked out and ripped. It's like you'd be like, that kid turned into that. That'd be awesome.
See, Ashley, that's why I'm going with this is because these kids were bullied, right? So I want them. I want them to have taken that experience and changed their life. So I want everybody who's playing the adult version of the kids just be like super like weightlifter, Mr. and Mrs. Olympia jacked when they come back. They're all just walking around like, where's the clown?
That is what happens with Ben Hanscom.
Yeah. So
I
I like
in
to
the
see
book.
some variety, but
no, they all have to be jacked.
okay. I'm very easily persuaded, in case you can't tell. But John S. Pumpkins on Twitter sent us like a rundown of who he would love to see as the dream cast.
Pumpkins!
And Bill Hader as the kid with the glasses. That
As
would
Richie
be hilarious.
Tozer. Yeah.
I don't know if it would work age-wise, but I would think that'd be really
Well, it'd
funny.
be good too because he Richie does all the voices and he's a radio DJ and Bill Hader is obviously a wonderful voice actor and would absolutely be a radio DJ or podcaster
Definitely.
or whatever they're gonna update.
You know,
it to.
it's 7 days past Halloween, but Pumpkins, you keep your name for a little bit longer.
yeah.
You earned it today. All right, one more Twick one. Twick one.
Twick one. I like it. You mentioned.
Yeah.
I like it. All
Just
right.
close up shop. No more questions. Okay, fine. We'll do
One more. J. Scott St. Clair writes, should moviegoers see the original Murder on the Orient Express before seeing the remake, or will it ruin the mystery, Mark?
You had like 150 years to see the first one. Okay, so just go see the new one and then go back and see the old one. If it took you the trailers and the excitement around the new movie to want to see a story about a murder that happened on a train called the Orient Express, then go see that movie. Reward that movie for getting your interest peaked,
Spoilers!
and then go back and watch the other one.
Spoilers.
Right?
Why would you watch a movie that is about a mystery and then learn the mystery and then go see the new movie?
Well, why would you read
Gives
a
away
book
the
ever?
mystery. I mean, that doesn't. But I'm saying, like, if you don't know anything about Murder on the Orient Express, why would you watch the first one?
Yeah, see the new one first, and then see the old
Well,
one. That's
here's
kind of
my
the
argument against
logical.
that, is
That's
that
the logical thing.
If Murder on the Orient, if the new one was like atrocious, and I was like, dude, this is the snowman of this month,
Right.
then I would say, no, save the spoiler, save the reveal for the original movie. But I like this version, so I can safely send you to the movie theater to go check it out. Then you can go see the old one. I don't know why I got so heated there.
All right. Oh, we were doing another one.
Nah, we're good.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
All right.
Save them for tomorrow.
Okay.
That's all the time we have here on Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank everybody for joining us in our casual Tuesday attire. Thanks to the hardworking production staff. For Ashley, Clarke, and John, my name is merely Mark Ellis, and you guys can catch us right here tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad station. I'll try to wear a shirt with a collar. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.